Senua'S Saga Hellblade II launched on Xbox and PC last year, and we've loved hearing about your experiences with the game, seeing your virtual photography, and learning what Senua'S story means to you.
It begins as it ends.
Work here at the studio has continued as we've been pushing the limits of the game's visual performance, finding new ways for you to experience Senua'S journey, and optimizing Hellblade II for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro for a cross-platform release and update this August.
Performance mode is a highly requested feature from our community, and that's a setting that the players can choose within the options to run the game on a 60 frame per second mode. You can swap between the performance and quality mode seamlessly. When you are playing on the PlayStation 5 Pro, you can choose between your preferred upscaler PSSR and TSR. Our approach to performance mode was to keep the original cinematic experience intact.
And I'll gut you like a fish.
So from the outset, we were pretty set on not removing any features at all for the performance mode version of the game, and rather we made a series of targeted optimizations as well as performance mode specific settings. For the original release of Senua'S Saga Hellblade 2, we optimized to the 30Hz target and then actually optimized a bit further than that to give ourselves a bit of headroom for a smoother frame rate, as well as letting us scale more for PC hardware. And so that meant that we had a bit of spare CPU headroom, basically, where if we were to scale the graphics settings, you get some additional frame rate kind of by default, but it wasn't quite enough to get us all the way to 60 frames per second. So because we had that headroom for the quality mode version of the game, that meant that we did actually have a couple of 2 to 4 millisecond spikes that would never affect the frame rate. However, in performance mode, these became a large part of our frame, and so we spent quite a lot of effort in targeting and removing all of those. This often involved spreading work across lots of frames, and particularly around spawning characters and items, level streaming, and garbage collection. For our general CPU performances, you might imagine for a game like this, a lot of it was spent on our characters, their animation, and their physics. We got back most of our performance by making targeted improvements to animation, as well as making our anim blueprints performance mode aware so that we could branch certain functionality and make appropriate reductions where necessary.
If you would just listen to me, Senua.
We also implemented an animation frame budget allocator, which meant that we could set fixed budgets, which is very important for 60Hz games, to ensure a consistent frame time. And then anything beyond that budget would just push to later frames. We also set this up with a priority system on characters so that this would not affect primary characters within a scene. Also, as our animation blueprints were performance mode aware, we were able to scale the physics on the characters for performance mode only. Reaching our goals on GPU was a combination of lower resolution, scalability settings, and performance mode specific settings for lighting and shadows to reduce their cost. We also made improvements to post-processing and VFX. In addition to this, we made our Niagara systems performance mode aware, which meant that we could branch their functionality as well. There's a lot more to it and a lot of finer details to keeping the performance smooth and consistent at 60 frames per second, but that's the broad overview of what it took to get the game running at 60 on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro.
For players who finish the game, they can access to our new difficulty, which is called the Dark Rod mode, and itself is a throwback to Hellblade 1. In this mode, the combat is more challenging, and with each death, the rod grows on Senua. Die too many times and your progress will be lost. There's also a new achievement if you beat the game in this mode. For Senua'S Saga Hellblade 2 Enhanced, we're making some improvements to our photo mode. We're adding camera motions. You can now set an automatically move camera in the game world when you are hiding the UI. You can control the speed, angle, and direction. Next to that, we're adding ambient sounds. And lastly, we're adding custom music. Tracks that were curated specifically for the photo mode. We also refined the existing settings to give you a better experience in photo mode. We can't wait to see what you will create with these tools at your disposal. Once you beat the game, you will unlock developer commentary mode. As you play the game, you will hear from our team and learn how we crafted Senua'S story.
Are hard to read, and they're fast, right? They don't have super long wind-ups.
This is the only location that's not based on a real location, so we kind of had free reign in terms of what we did with the spaces and how we themed them.
There is around 4 hours of commentary from our team, cast and collaborators.
As an environment artist, you have a responsibility to sort of guide the player as well as lose them. So yeah, it's kind of a tricky little balancing act, but I think we got something pretty cool out of it.
For players on PC, we've worked to give you a little something extra if you have higher end hardware. While we could have just taken all of the settings up to their maximum, we decided instead to only extend specific settings where we thought they gave a visual improvement at a reasonable performance cost. This includes improvements across shadows, TSR, post-processing, volumetrics and view distance. And for those with hardware that supports it, we've also added DLSS 4 and multi-frame gen for even higher frame rates. While we were making performance improvements, we also wanted to revisit Steam Deck verification. For the original launch, while deck performance wasn't awful, it wasn't an out-of-the-box experience. You had to tweak the graphics settings yourself, and there were still some places that were CPU bottlenecked. To improve this, we've made the game deck aware, which means that the first time that you boot it, it will know what platform it's on and set all of the settings for you. We also took our performance mode CPU improvements and applied those to the Steam Deck version of the build.
For some time you were happy.
Like us.
Hellblade: Senua'S Saga shipped on PlayStation in 2017, so we're really excited to bring Senua back to PlayStation so players can continue her journey in Senua'S Saga Hellblade II. When porting a game between similar form factor and performance hardware, it's more about porting the technology than the game specifically. And so we were very fortunate here that Epic had a very good platform integration for PlayStation already for Unreal Engine 5. Once the build was running, we were able to then have our tools team hook up all of our CIN infrastructure so that we would get nightly builds as well as being able to onboard the content team.
They're testing you. They are laughing at you.
We also have a system internally called Self-Play, which is able to play the game from start to end, as well as attaching profiling tools to this while it does it. This meant that very early on we were able to get the game verified as playing start to end and get a good overview of where our current performance was at. This was a great position for us to start on the platform. In terms of hardware capability, performance for quality mode was pretty straightforward. The game already scaled between Series S and Series X, as well as beyond in both directions for PC hardware. So for PlayStation, this meant finding out where on that spectrum the hardware sits and tweaking our scalability and resolution settings accordingly. All of the features of Hellblade II are present and accounted for on PlayStation hardware, and we've also added support for adaptive triggers, haptics, and Dolby Atmos. The version of the engine that we shipped on was not PlayStation 5 Pro aware. This meant we had to port features from later versions of the engine, but it did allow us to enable features like PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution and variable rate shading. Ultimately, the porting of Hellblade 2 to PlayStation 5 went very smoothly. This meant that we could spend more of our time working on the new content as well as performance mode.
What were they looking for?
Our partners at Qloaked helped bring an enhanced version of Hellblade 1 to PC and Xbox in 2021, so we were excited to work with them again to optimize Hellblade 1 for PlayStation 5. This includes features such as 4K resolution, up to 120 frames per second, and ray tracing.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them.
Senua'S Saga Hellblade 2 Enhanced arrives August 12th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox PC, Steam, and Game Pass. Pre-order on PlayStation to receive the Senua'S Saga Hellblade 2 original soundtrack at launch. As well as the standard edition of the game, we're also offering a deluxe edition, which includes the original Hellblade Senua'S Sacrifice optimized for PS5 for the first time, and the soundtrack as an added bonus.
Say it. You are ready. Tell them.
For players on Xbox, PC, and Game Pass, Hellblade 2 Enhanced will be available at the same time as a free update. So wherever you play, there will be something new for you to explore this August.